community, Miss Mansi. She is BTech second year from MRITS Hyderabad. Miss Tanmayi, BTech fourth year from MRITS. Kalpana, B.Pharm fourth year from Bharat Institute of Technology. Shreya, MBA second year from JNTU Anantapur campus. Aravind, BTech second year from MRITS. Jagdish, BTech second year from MRITS. I. Rupini, Bharat Institute of Technology from Hyderabad. Our academic partners are Amity University, Vignans University, Rishihood University, ICFA University, IGBP, College System, MRITS, JNTU Anantapur, JNTU Hyderabad, VTU, then SGG, CE, SPU, Digithon, Tata Asia, Al Khalifa Business School, Vision Digital India. Our media partners are Mana TV, then V5, TV5, Sakshi TV, News 9, GK TV, US1, GNN. Then our corporate and NGO partners are CIC Group Inc., Liberty Foundation, India, NRI Wala, Manavata Foundation, and a few more I'm not able to read out here due to the visibility. And the organizing committee of these webinars, I recognize Dr. Harikrishna Maram, Dr. Ravi Ayagari, Ram Maruri, Dr. Jairaj Kumar, Srinivas Guduru, Kishore Advani, Kishore Avwari, Srinivas Komatipalli, Swami Chakradhar, Raju Katukam, Manish Advani, Varad Krishnan, Abraham Paul, Venkatacheri, Subrata Banerjee, Madhuri, Padmaja, Namrata, Sai Gujje, Vaishnavi Chippa, Pranav, Samir Ippanapalli, Keshav Jwalapuram, Shreya, Shravani Vanga, Monica Batula, Tanmayi Potti, Ashish Mekala, Trisha Kilaru, Aravindu Busarapu, Vijaya Badeti, Sai Shiva Kyatam. I give a brief on the COVID coronavirus global pandemic impact as of the latest at 3 p.m. IST today. In entire world, it is about 2 crores 89 lakhs 60,000 cases recorded, and total deaths, I think it is wrong, whatever total deaths is there. I'm sorry for that. Total recovered 71 lakhs 95,000. And in USA, which is the number one, 66 lakhs 76,000 plus. And in India, it is the second place, 47 lakhs 54,000. And while the total deaths are about 1,98,000 in America, USA, the total deaths are little low in India, 78,614. That is one good thing. And the third, fourth, and fifth places go to Brazil, Russia, and Peru. And just in the economy, the impact of COVID on the economy is about 82 trillion dollars have been lost over a period of 5 years will be lost, and 2 out of every 5 jobs lost may not come back. A healthier digital lifestyle may be we may be seen in the future. That is what the technology going to be. Then boon to virtual reality. Regulatory barriers will fall, and opportunity for innovation will be there. Result in stronger domestic supply chains will be there. Increased e-commerce and online shopping will be there in the technology side. Health and education side, rise in use of telemedicine, rise in virtual or online education, government or which becomes a big pharma, science reigns again. Government side, virtual assembly, parliament, congress sessions might be needed. Big government makes a comeback. Inequality gap widens in the society, lead to political uprising. Then electronic voting and voting by mail, revived trust in institutions and online transactions. Lifestyle is going to be virtual office, virtual education will be a reality, less communal dining, parties or worships, big impact on active life and health, improved environment, clean air and water. So this is going to be the economic situation and technology, healthcare, government, and lifestyle. So the problem statement I want to state here: COVID-19 has restricted students' mobility from attending classes on campus due to health concerns, which increases the demand for online education. The pandemic has created an opportunity and an undeniable challenge to teach online and upskill the teaching staff. Inclusive blended learning can enable partnerships between institutions of developed and developing countries to share content and resources to offer affordable quality education at scale. This has been a dream of my mentor, our mentor, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the former President of India and Chief Mentor of Lead India Foundation, who proposed a Vision 2020 roadmap to see India as a developed nation by 2020. So with this brief note, I thank for the opportunity given to me. Now I welcome all the speakers and the youth for an interactive session. I give over to the MCs to call for the next speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Before we continue, I would like to say a few things about Dr. Hari Eppanapalli. Dr. Hari Eppanapalli is a financial services professional, an entrepreneur, and a philanthropist with a passion for healthcare, education, and the environment. His mission has been to transform youth into responsible citizens to establish a peaceful society for harmonious living. He received his BTech in Mechanical Engineering from JNTU, Hyderabad, a master's in computer science from New Jersey Institute of Technology, and completed an executive program in the general management from MIT. He is an entrepreneur, keynote speaker, investor in disruptive technology companies, and serves as a chairman of the board of the CIC Group and Cubal Genomics Institute. He is a visionary, mentor, founder, and chairman of the Lead India and Liberty Foundation, advisor to alternate development organizations in Norway, and the founding board member and vice president of the financial policy. He serves on the board of several for-profit and non-profit organizations. Dr. Hari Eppanapalli worked closely with the 11th President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, on the Lead India movement since 2008. He is the founding chairman of the Lead India Foundation USA. Lead India is the brainchild of Dr. Kalam's Vision 2020 and founded with the mission to provide affordable quality healthcare, affordable quality education, preserve and protect the planet for future generations, and develop spiritual families to establish peace and harmony in the society. It's my honor and privilege to present to you Dr. Hari Eppanapalli.
Thank you very much, Mansi, for that graceful introduction. So I would like to congratulate all the youth who are on this session today. It's a wonderful day to celebrate. It's an Engineers Day celebration as well today. I would like to welcome all the engineers who are helping us on this webinar, as well as attending to volunteer for many things that we have planned through the Lead India program. So I would like to recognize the presence of Dr. Ram Maruri, who is the Board of Trustee and Managing Trustee for the Liberty Foundation. And we have Varadha Krishnan, who is our Executive Council member, and also Dr. Deepak, who is going to lead this session today. Thank you all for taking the time during your busy schedules and joining us. So friends, the youth of the world today is distracted from their primary objectives of life and deprived of value-based education, youth of character and responsible citizenship. Youth ask for rights and forget their responsibilities to create individuals with values, good character, and a sense of responsibility is need of the hour. So I represent the Lead India Foundation with a mission to transform the youth into responsible citizens and engage them in developing the nation through a value-based leadership training program. The Lead India movement is initiated, as the previous speaker, Dr. Ram mentioned, His Excellency late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the 11th President of India, which has already transformed millions of youth. His dream was to provide affordable quality healthcare, affordable quality education, preserve and protect this planet for future generations, and also develop spiritual families to bring peace and harmony into this world. So that's the mission that we are all working towards. And during this COVID, we did a lot of things, but this particular session is very dear and special to us. The key components of the training program include physical development, mental development, career development, family development, social development, and all the way leading to national development. So in the physical development component, the one we would like to focus on is we need to be healthy in order to support yourself as well as the support society around you. And also the activities of the Lead India program, I will mention briefly. Each one teach 10 to eliminate illiteracy, plant 10 trees to protect the environment, identify and turn off bad habits in 10 people, health and nutrition education in the neighborhoods, sanitation, individual development. All these things are part of our program. So far, personally, I have interacted with millions of students actually traveling on this program around the world. So in this context, I would like to thank all the organizers of this event. So for each one of you, actually a unique personality, but the world around you is doing its best to make you just one among the many. So being unique requires achieving excellence. Excellence is a self-imposed, self-directed, and lifelong process, not in competition with anyone else, but yourself. You set your own preferences, standards, and work on your dreams with focus, and be prepared to take calculated risks and do not get deterred by failures as you move forward to implement your dreams. Always dream big and aim high in life, and acquire knowledge. Work hard towards achieving your dreams, even in the times of difficulty like COVID. And then finally, learn to manage failures as well as success in life. So most of us tend to complain about the issues around us, but we want to be a spectator, not take part in solving those problems. I think this particular session, so we complaining about the COVID, but we need to take the responsibility. And today, Dr. Deepak and other speakers going to tell you how to protect yourself and also protect the friends, family, and neighborhoods that you live in. So this is, again, I would like to quote one of John F. Kennedy's quotation: ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. So this is a call for the nation, and when there's a need for this. So you are born in this planet as a human being for a purpose, and you are born with two hands so that you can serve. Only in this life that you can make a difference while you are here on this planet. Friends, the challenge is to fight the hardest battle which any human being can ever imagine to fight, and never stop fighting until you achieve a dream in life and arrive at your destination, and that is unique you. So today, the COVID has impacted, as Dr. Ram has mentioned, in millions and millions of people. And unfortunately, India has reached the second position in the world. And if you look at the numbers, on a single day, people impacted, we are in the #1 position. So each one of you have responsibility to protect yourself to start with, and also protect your friends, family, and neighborhoods. And today's session is going to provide you all the insights and the guidance on the holistic healthcare. And thanks to Dr. Deepak, without further delay, I would like to yield my time for the rest of the program to continue as needed. But as a closing note, I would like to recite one poem which is very dear to Dr. Kalam. And I heard it directly from him many times, and most of you probably heard him through directly or indirectly. So this poem is very good one to build your character. When there is a beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. So peace comes from harmony, and harmony comes from the beauty of character. Once again, I would like to thank each one of you for inviting me and speak to you on this occasion. And I would like to wish you all the best. Please, wherever you are, take care and be safe and follow the guidelines Dr. Deepak is going to provide to you today, and save yourself and also save the friends, families, and neighborhoods. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hari, for a beautiful message and welcoming all the speakers and encouraging the youth to take care of themselves and be part of the Lead India movement. Thanking you, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Hari Garu, once again. MCs, can we move on to the next speaker? Introduce the next speaker, please.
Varadarajan Krishna. Varadarajan Krishna, an angel investor with a track record in a career spanning over 25 years, had been through 5 exits, including 2 IPOs. He is part of startup community that had built up products and IP ranging from embedded software, BPM, telecom, and clean tech. Varad sir is currently engaged in building open innovation communities worldwide through Induct. He also provided innovative. Among them is 100 Open Startups. The 100 Open Startups movement connects to startups, entrepreneurs, and scientists with the innovation strategy of large companies, looking for solutions and opportunities for the challenges of society and the market. He is involved in various startups initiatives in India and the worldwide as a mentor and jury as way to give back to the global entrepreneurial ecosystem. He has been deeply involved with the highest funded IoT startup in the energy sector, WinAMR, where together with its founder chairman, built the end-to-end startup grids company from its inception to revenue stage. As one of the board of directors of WinAMR, he drives the overall strategy for growth of the company. Now I welcome Varadraj Krishnan, sir, to give his valuable speech.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? A very good evening to each one of you. Good morning to you, Hari, and whoever is watching from the East Coast in the US. Very warm welcome to this particular seminar, like you heard from everyone, about the importance of healthcare. We need to look at why these numbers are rising, and in other countries like in Germany or Japan or Korea, they managed to control it. So, what you're going to hear from Dr. Deepak is about the protocols and also some ways to protect yourself. Okay, so I don't want to steal his thunder. So he's going to anyway talk about it. But I would like to talk from a perspective of an entrepreneur and what we are seeing. Some of these, let us say, the plus and minuses that have happened, the disruptions that are going on right now. Many businesses have shut down, and as you heard, probably 2 out of 5 jobs are not going to come back. And also it applies to businesses. Some of the businesses are not going to come back. And so it is going to be a lot of challenge, a lot of innovation has to happen so that we are able to sustain and get through the situation. And this is a lot of challenge. You have to survive mainly. Okay, so survival means you have to take good care of yourself. And this is where I wanted to talk about something about discipline. In India, we don't have the discipline to observe these protocols, whether it is wearing a mask, simple thing like a mask. I've seen people wearing a mask for sure, but then the nose, if the mask is below the nose, what's the point in wearing a mask like that? It makes no sense, because you're breathing the germs or the COVID virus, so to say, right? It's in the air. You're talking to somebody sneezes, or it gets transmitted in some form, then you're breathing in, right? I don't understand this. And so I keep telling people wherever I see them, I say, you're wearing, no doubt you're wearing a mask, but then it's not effective, right? So, there is statistics which has been published, which says if two people wear masks in the same room, they can protect up to an extent of 99%. Well, 1% is because, you can still touch, and through touch it can happen. So having said that, the attitude, right, that is, oh, it won't come to me, and that is what is the dangerous, thinking, right, of most people here, is that I won't be affected, I am protected, right? So that kind of chalta hai attitude has to change, because it is a serious matter. The virus is not going to spare anybody. You may be a multi-billionaire, you may be a pauper, doesn't matter. It is going to hit everybody. So, the moment you realize that, you're going to take good care of yourself, also about your environment. So for all the people that are watching this event and session, I would like to warn you that this attitude of, it won't come to me, I can do anything, I can go back to my old days, like, prior to COVID, that is not on. You need to observe that. So anyway, Deepak is going to talk about all this. I need to tell you some interesting anecdote about Dr. Deepak, and that is something he may not be able to talk. So that is why I will take up that. So one thing I want all of you to know is that he is not a homeopath, like a real sense. He's like most others that you see is practicing the allopathic stream of medicine. He also did his MBBS at the Kasturba Medical College in Manipal. But what happened was, when he was studying there, he was noticed his professor attending to patients, and these patients would come back again and again. So he was wondering, is there a stream of medicine where you treat once, people should not come back again? Okay, so that is how he began to study about the various streams of medicine. And then he discovered homeopathy is one of the medicine streams that people will get permanently cured. And then, they don't have to come back to the hospital or to the doctor again. Okay, so that was the reason. And so then he went to study that in London. So after that, he's been practicing it, and very successfully. He has cured a lot of people, including, so that's how it happened to me also. Like, I was suffering from what's called the breathing allergy. So it was not yet what we call as severe breathing problems, but I used to get sneezes, it's allergic issues. So then I studied about it, researched about it, and then I found Dr. Deepak, and then I met him, and then he prescribed some medicines. He actually prepared those medicines at his own pharmacy and then gave it to me, and I followed it systematically, and I got cured completely from these sneeze attacks. So similar to me, like in my family also, many people, in my own family, many of my own relatives, my own immediate family, also had similar issues, and he was able to fix that. Later, I was able to, when I was meeting him many times, I was also able to discover that many of those treatments people, have given up in allopathy, he was able to given up or not able to fix. For example, let us say in allopathy, he was able to fix that through homeopathy by systematic treatment. And I must say that the same thing today, if you look at homeopathy and also the other streams of alternative medicine like Ayurveda or even Unani, there's a sense prevailing generally in certain parts of the industry that it is not proven, and it is a kind of a placebo and all that. So there is a negative kind of feedback going around. But my point is this: at this point in time, we don't have any cure, right? And whether it's homeopathy or Ayurveda, you won't have any side effect. So why not try it? You can protect yourself. And some studies have happened, clinical studies have happened, where they were able to bring about the data that people who took homeopathic medicine, that is the one called ARS ALB 30 that particular type, which anyway Dr. Deepak will be talking about, that particular medicine, people who have taken that, they've not been affected. And there's been studies all over the country, in Gujarat, in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, and so on, and also in Andhra Pradesh. So they've done these studies and have got results which says that if you've taken this medicine, you're not going to get affected. And that has been proved by clinical studies and clinical research. So this is to prove that, like I said, we don't have the vaccine, we don't have any other alternative cure. So why not try this, okay, and then protect yourself? So you heard from previous speakers, Dr. Hari, and also from Ram, that we're facing a lot of challenges today, and we can solve at least one of those challenges by protecting yourself, and thereby, you can reduce the burden on the government, because if everybody reaches the hospital, there is no place to, give them a room or make them even to lie down in a bed. There's nothing available. Most places, everything is full. And so it's a huge strain on the resources. And by protecting yourself, you will also be doing a great service to the nation by, not going to the hospital, right? So with these words, I would now pass to Dr. Deepak, because he's the right authority to talk about all this. And he's going to walk you through some of the protocols, procedures that you can follow to protect yourself and protect your neighbors, as well as your friends, family, and also the nation at the end of it. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I again would like to give you this input that you have to take protection, precaution, and also take those steps. Nobody's going to protect you. You have to protect yourself. Thank you so much. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Varad. Thank you for a very great welcome and sharing your experience about how Dr. Deepak helped enter your family and you got cured. That is a great news for all of us. MCs, let us move on to the next keynote speaker, Dr. Deepak K. Tibrewal. Please introduce the keynote speaker of the day today. Thank you.
Dr. Deepak K. Tibrewal. Dr. Deepak K. Tibrewal has an allopathic qualification from MAHE and homeopathic from the Royal London Homeopathic Hospital, London. He began his quest for a new system when he saw patients coming back to the hospital with the same mates and ailments. He then came across the concept of psychoneuroimmunology, which helped him form his homeopathic system. He has been practicing homeopathy and allopathy and specializes in the treatment of allergies and developmental disorders such as autism, ADD, ADHD, and LD in children, and allergies, lifestyle illnesses such as metabolic syndrome in adults. Now I welcome Dr. Deepak Tibrewal to deliver his address.
Thank you, Shreya. Dr. Deepak, you are on mute. Kindly unmute and speak. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody in India, and good morning in US. Thank you, Mr. Bharat Krishnan, for wonderful, lucid, and true-to-life introduction. I also like to thank Dr. Hari for setting up this Lead India Foundation along with others. I would like to thank you, Mr. Ram, Mrs. Swati, and all the others who helped organize this wonderful event, which is going to be useful. My subject is to help people prepare to fight this COVID-19 pandemic, which is raging across the world. We as a country are also suffering hugely from it, as Mr. Ram has put up all the statistics. Now we are having I mean, our rank has now become second to USA, but we don't have that kind of resources US has. The other day I was reading, it is a speculation though, but then there is an element of truth in it, that within few months time, we will have 20 to 30% more number of emergency cases than the capacity our country has to provide healthcare in ICU. Let us say we have 1 lakh ICU bed and we may have 20 to 30 lakh people suffering from serious COVID-19 disease which would require ICU facility. So it is a scary situation. We though have unlocked, and as you can see in the streets of our cities, we have life as usual. People have been going around doing all kind of things, doing all kind of unnecessary things, exposing them to not required infections and serious challenge they face because of mindless going out of the house, which they can very well avoid. As Mr. Varat Krishnan has put it across, that prevention is something we should look forward or practice every day, because there is no treatment available as yet. So how do we prevent? He's also rightfully pointed out wearing mask. I'll give you a simple exercise that if there are two people in the same room, one of them is wearing a mask who is having a COVID-19 infection, even though he does not have any symptom, and the other person who does not have any symptom, and he's also wearing the mask. So to both the people wearing the mask, one is having COVID-19 infection, the other one does not have the infection. The chances of getting the other person infection comes down by 99% if both of them are wearing the mask. Now just change the scenario. The person who is having COVID-19 infection, but he is not wearing the mask, and the other person who does not have the COVID-19 infection, but is still wearing the mask, the chances of him getting the infection increases many-fold, even though he is wearing the mask. So what does it mean? It means that even though we do not have symptoms, even though we do not know whether we are having COVID-19 infection, we all should wear the mask. That is number one responsibility of us as citizens of the country. The second is try to avoid going out, especially to crowded places, as much as possible. Unless and until you need to go out to crowded places to earn your living, you must avoid going to crowded places, especially for recreation. We must avoid going out to crowded places for recreation. Third, even if you have to go out and meet people, you must maintain social distancing of about 6 feet plus. Try to stay away from people and maintain 6 feet of distance. And of course, you have to all the time wear mask when you're out. And lastly, but not least, most important of it, is every time when you come back from outside, you must wash your hand. So if we follow these 4 practices, we will do a great service to not only ourselves, our family, our society, our locality, our cities, our country. We will do a great service to all of them. So please follow these 4 basic protocols. To remember it easily, I have created a mnemonic as WASH, where W stands for wearing a mask, A stands for avoiding crowded places, S stands for social distancing, and H for hand hygiene. Now, once you've covered prevention of infection, the second important thing is, that is the topic today, is how to develop immunity. God forbid if one gets infected from COVID-19, even in spite of following these prevention, how do you survive? How do you prevent yourself from getting infection severe enough to create serious illness and perhaps morbidity and even death? So to that, we have to develop immunity. Now, immunity is a very dynamic thing. It is like a well-oiled machine where all the components of the machine has to work in tandem with each other. You cannot become immunity by popping some fancy vitamins. You cannot get immunity by popping some very popular superfood. Immunity is a collective set of effort, which when practiced on a regular basis, one can become healthy. Now, the first part of immunity is it not only prevents or protects you from virus illnesses like COVID-19, but host of other viral as well as bacterial infection. Besides, it prevents you from developing other degenerative diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and so on. Now, I would like to use a PowerPoint so that some of the important points can be retained. So may I request Mr. Ram to start the process of switching over to PowerPoint, please.
Dr. Deepak, you have the PPT with you. You want to share it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Would you try to share it? I think you can able to share it as a co-host.
I just present it.
Yeah. No, you have to share screen. You have to click on share screen.
Share screen. Where do I say?
You see just down below, bottom. You see in green color, share screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Now I present it.
Yes.
Yeah. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. So I welcome all the young boys and girls and others who are taking part in as a volunteers. They have volunteered to learn about how to build up immunity for themselves and to take the message across the society to disseminate this information and how to develop immunity. I begin by using a definition of health by WHO. And the definition of health by WHO reads like this: health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely absence of a disease. So what does it mean? If you look at it piecemeal, there are three components to it: physical, mental, and social well-being. So as you can see here very well, so it's not only about physically being fit, but also mentally, emotionally being fit, but also to take care of your society. So when you take care of your society, or you are presenting yourself in society as a model citizen, then you are truly healthy. But that's not where it ends. If you carefully analyze, then this sentence actually tells you more. It tells you that health is not something like a default setup of a computer which is when you switch on, it comes and stands there. If you don't do anything, it remains there. Health cannot remain as a constant thing without continuously supporting it by positive effort. So it's something which requires proactive efforts to take care of it. It just cannot remain there. That is, if you do not do anything proactively to maintain it, you cannot remain healthy. So that's the other message comes out from this definition. Now we go further when we talk about health. You can synonym it with immunity. Immunity is a medical word. A lot of people have some idea about it. Some people have very little idea about it. Some people think it's a very, very difficult thing to, understand or practice or develop. But then today there is an opportunity to understand immunity in the most simplest and the basic form. I would like to talk about it in the next 10 to 12 minutes, perhaps 15, about immunity in the most simple and the basic way, which will help you all to understand. And not only for yourself, you must understand and imbibe all what I'm going to talk to you for the next 15 minutes about immunity and take it to all the people nearby you, people who have low understanding of medical things, low understanding about food, low understanding about what is protein, low understanding about exercise. So you have to understand the concept of immunity in the most simplest way, which you have to take it to people, because that's why you have volunteered. You volunteered to learn about immunity, to take it to the grassroots level, to nearby people, to take out to your society as a project. So let's move on to learn about what is immunity. Okay. Oops. Okay, so immunity is a dynamic process. So when I say dynamic process, it means it is continuously changing. It is not a constant thing. So if you do positive things to support immunity, it is on a positive upward swing. But if you let it just drift, then it would start going down. So you need to do constantly positive things, make effort towards building your immunity or at least maintaining it. But then how do you define immunity? It is basically a set of mechanism in our body which protects you, like how security forces protect you from, let's say, a terrorism or terrorist infiltration. So what do? They surround the terrorist and we call it as an encounter. So every time a virus or a bacteria enters in our system, our white blood cells, that is our defense cells, surrounds it and then starts a process called inflammation. And once you set in the inflammation, it produces a certain set of symptoms like a fever, pain, swelling, discharges. And that means that your body is triggered an immunity or immune response, again, an invading pathogen, a virus or a bacteria. Many times what we do, we go to a doctor and we say, doctor, I have fever. Doctor, I have pain. Doctor, I have a nose discharge. I'm sneezing. And what do? You take medicine to suppress that. So basically you suppress the inflammation by taking medicine like paracetamol, taking antibiotics. But that's not what you should actually be doing. Unless and until your fever is very high, you should allow fever to be there in your system, because that's a protective thing. it is the sign of the fight which is going on between your defense mechanism and the pathogens, the viruses. So if the fever is not very high, you just take a rest, drink a lot of water, put a cold pack on your forehead, and allow 2-3 days for fever to be there. If your immunity is strong, it will break the fever, you will become strong, and you will come out of the disease without taking any medication. However, if your fever is very high, you may take some paracetamol, but you should always follow the rest of the things like taking sufficient water, adequate food, etc. Now, two, that is when we have actual illness. But what about preventing getting actual illness? That is how to develop immunity so that even if you have got a virus inside your system, but you fight it out without falling sick, and you kill the virus or bacteria without even falling sick, which, by the way, continuously happens in our life. We don't even realize. It's not that only once you get a virus and then when you fall sick. You keep getting the viruses every day, every now and then, but yet you don't suffer every day. Why? Because your immunity is doing its job and it's protecting it. It's only when you fall sick is when your immunity is weak. So now, what are the things that we can do to protect ourselves from developing the immunity in such a way that we don't fall sick even once in a year? So to explain this, I have developed a mnemonic. It's called WASH. This is another wash. The first wash I talked about was to preventing yourself from getting infection. This second wash is to develop immunity. So here W stands for walking. Now when I say walking, you can even do running or swimming or even cycling for that matter. But the idea is that you should do at least 45 minutes per day, at least 5 times a day, if not 7 times, and 5 times a week, my beg your pardon, if not 7 days a week. And how do you know? Mr. Ram once asked me a couple of days ago that how do we know that we are doing quality walking? Well, there are various aspects to quality walking or brisk walking, and it requires a lot of explanation to do. But the very basic way by which you can be assured that you're doing sufficient amount of quality walking is you should walk at the speed where you start to get sweat, you become breathless, just short of becoming breathless. So that is the maximum speed at which you should walk. If you do that kind of walking, you improve your heart's function. And how do you measure that? Again, there are a lot of calculations to do. If somebody wants to know more about it, there is a lot of information available on net, or they can get back to me also. But for the moment, it's sufficient to remember that you walk as fast as possible until you reach a speed where you start to becoming breathless. And you should walk as long as possible until you break into sweat. So if you do that, what would happen? Your heart would pump sufficient amount of blood to all your organs, which will result into adequate supply of oxygen and all the extracellular fluid, which is almost like 1/3 of all the water you have in your body, which, by the way, is almost 60% of your body weight is water. So 1/3 of that water is in extracellular space, that is outside yourself, in the form of blood, lymphatics. So when you do walking for about 45 minutes every day for 5 days a week, you pump in all the blood I mean, all the water, all the extracellular fluid, blood, lymphatics through these organs. And thereby you not only supply adequate amount of oxygen and making them healthy, but you also pump this extracellular fluid through organs of cleansing, which is your kidneys, lungs, liver, and skin. Now, these organs remove all the impurities which is continuously generated due to wear and tear which happens in our body. It is similar to, if you can visualize, like taking an internal bath. That is, you're cleaning your internal body. We do take bath every day in the morning or in the evening, but this is one mechanism by which you can give an internal bath, wherein you clean up all your extracellular fluid because you pass them through the organs of cleansing, kidney, lungs, liver, and skin. Walking is not only about cleaning or about giving oxygen to your organs. A brisk walking for 45 minutes generates good amount of feel-good chemicals in your brain, and those are collectively known as endorphins. So what is the advantage of having endorphins in our brain? Why do we need endorphins? Is there any use of endorphins? I recommend all you people to read about endorphins. After you finish the session, I recommend you Google what is endorphins and why it is useful. Well, I will tell you briefly, but you read more about it after, once you go back in your life. What endorphins does. So every time when you go out and do a brisk walk or a run or a long swimming, your brain releases these endorphins in abundant quantity. And this is called feel-good chemicals or feel-good hormones. And once you have them, you feel positively motivated. You feel a sense of purpose in life. And best of all, it is so rewarding. The feeling is that it motivates you to do it again and again. So basically, these endorphins are designed by nature to put you into a positive loop of physical activity. Because physical activity like brisk walking is so much important for our survival, because it does all that what I just talked about. Good supply of oxygen to our internal organ and giving an internal bath. Walking also does one more thing, that is BMR. It increases or improves your basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate is a medical technical term. To simplify that, I would tell you what basal metabolic rate is. Basal metabolic rate is rate at which your body generates energy. And you know how important energy is. Energy is required for any cell to function, anything to function. Energy is essence of life. So if you improve your basal metabolic rate, which means if you increase your energy production, you are going to have good amount of energy supply to even your immune cells, your WBCs, your macrophages, your heart, which would then circulate them properly across and thereby giving you good protection from viruses. So let's get stuck here. In the mnemonic WASH, the next letter is A, that is adequate nutrition. When we often talk about or read about nutrition, and when you talk about and read about nutrition, you often read about eat green vegetables, drink enough water. But many times we miss mentioning about or reading about gut health. So what is gut health? Let us say, even if you eat sufficient amount of good healthy food like vegetables and fruits, but if you don't digest them well, or if you don't absorb them well, you're not going to get all the benefit from it. So what is that one important factor which influences their digestion and absorption? It is the health of your intestine, what we call gut. And the most important part of your intestinal health is the good friendly bacteria and yeast which we have in our gut. Those are called probiotics. So unless and until you maintain good probiotic levels in our gut, you're not going to get the most out of your nutrition which you consume. Not to mention, if you don't have good gut health, you will not have good immunity, because gut health has a direct bearing on immunity. Well, I cannot talk more about how gut health affects immunity. It will become very complicated and too much of medical stuff, which is also not required at this point of time. What is important here is to also understand what will improve the quality and the quantity of this healthy bacteria and yeast called probiotic is eating good amount of food which contains prebiotics. And prebiotics are nothing but food for the probiotic. The commonly consumed food which is available in India is oats, banana, onion, and garlic. Besides, of course, we have kale, asparagus, and so many others which is available in other parts of the world. But for in Indian context, if we focus on oats, onion, and banana, besides garlic, you would do a good job of eating sufficient amount of prebiotics, which will then improve the quantity and the quality of good bacteria and yeast in our gut, called probiotics. The next important thing is giving due importance to vegetables in our diet and some amount of fruits, not to mention some amount of raw food every day. Raw food helps you proper cleansing of your gut, and vegetables and fruits delivers good amount of vitamins and minerals, as well as sufficient amount of fiber helps you cleaning the gut. Next important thing about diet is protein. Well, protein, as we all know, is important for building the blocks, all the blocks in our system, be it muscle protein, be it bone matrix, or even building your white blood cells. Those are responsible directly for immunity. So, what are the good source of protein and how much protein we need to take per day? Well, there is the simplest formula for that, which is again, now they say that is not enough. Medicine is a changing field, but for basics, we can say 0.8 gram per kg body weight. If you take protein every day, it is good enough. So what are the good source of protein? So for the vegetarian people, lentils and legumes, which are also known as dal in subcontinent, and dairy products like milk, yogurt, which is wrongfully known as curd, as well as other dairy products like cheese and yeah, basically that, and all the other sweets made from dairy products. And for people who eat non-vegetarian food like eggs, fish, and chicken mentioned in this screen. So if you consume sufficient amount of these, you get adequate amount of protein, which are building blocks for your immune cells beside muscles and bone. There is a wonderful concept called fasting, which we have all forgotten. But in our tradition, in subcontinent especially, we used to follow that very regularly, once in 15 days, following lunar calendar. We used to do what is called Ekadasi. That is on the 11th day of a 15-day cycle following the moon, whether it is Purnima or Amavasya, we have a tradition of fasting. Around 2 years or 3 years back, I don't remember the exact year, a Japanese scientist called Yashinori Ashumi, he was given Nobel Prize for demonstrating the beneficial effect of fasting on human health. He, in fact, demonstrated how fasting enhances our immunity. So since then, people have devised various type of fasting, and they have called it intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting also includes Ekadasi, which intermittent fasting actually means that you don't fast continuously, you fast following a particular pattern. One of the simplest and also effective enough way to fast is following 16 hours of fasting every day and 8 hours of eating window within 24 hours. So I have been following this for many years now, and it is quite a practice. But many people say that it is so difficult to remain hungry. Yes, I can understand, because we have been eating in a certain way. We have always been, getting up in the morning and beside drinking water, within 10-15 minutes, we are holding a cup of tea or coffee with so much sugar into it. And when somebody tells you, please don't do that, instead take a glass of warm water and lemon, it is difficult to begin with. But let me tell you, my friends, if you start following it, within a couple of weeks, your body will adopt to that new lifestyle and you will love it. I can promise you. You will feel so much lighter and you will feel so much healthier. So following a 16-hour fasting is typically, I recommend that you have dinner at 6 p.m. and your breakfast at 10. If you cannot have 6 p.m. dinner, then you have at 8, that is the latest. And your first meal should be your breakfast come lunch at 12. Until you eat your breakfast come lunch at 12, what you may do is drink a glass of warm water and lemon. You can have 1 or 2 cups of tea with very minimal amount of sugar, or no sugar would be even ideal, and little or no milk, preferably lemon tea or green tea. If you still feel hungry, you can eat half a cucumber. So if you follow this practice, it's really going to be a game changer for you as far as immunity is concerned. I can talk more about fasting, but then it will take a lot more time, which may not be really required at this point of time, maybe some other time. Or you recommended or you're advised to read more about fasting if anybody has more interest in it. And last and not least, the most important part of nutrition is water. Because unless and until you drink sufficient amount of water, you cannot perform most of what we talked about. Because water is the vehicle which carries nutrition to your cells and also removes waste product away from it. The next letter in WAS is S, which is for sufficient amount of sleep. I have just written one number here, plus 7 hours daily. So if you just remember that you have to sleep for 7 hours daily, this is good enough. But if you want to know more about sleep, we can talk few more things here. Let me just get some points here. So why sleep is so important? In fact, modern times, sleep is one of the most ignored, but one of the most important uh, function of a day, because we have what is called screens. We have screens of so many sizes. In fact, people even have a screen on their wrist nowadays, a smartwatch. So from a smartwatch to a smartphone to a tablet, laptop, and then you have a TV. The four different sizes of a screen consume so much of our time that even some of that screen goes to bed with us, or at least bedside. But let me tell you, you must sleep for 7 hours. If you do minimally, then you do a lot of good to your immunity. Because when you sleep, your body releases what is called growth hormone. And this growth hormone stimulates growth of all the body cells. And that's why you can see an infant who's just born, maybe a couple of days old, he would sleep for more than 20 hours or 18 hours or 19 hours a day for first couple of months, because that's a time when he receives all the growth hormones and which it propels him to grow. So that's very important part of sleep. The other important thing which happens during sleep is housekeeping. So when you sleep, your body takes care of a lot of what happens during the day, and repairs and sorts out, give instruction to different organs to take care of a lot of pending issues. And that is very important, to not allow body to develop a chaos within itself. One of the important thing about sleep, which latest research suggests, is that a lot of us are suffering from difficult to fall asleep. And this difficulty in falling asleep could be attributed to multiple reasons. I would mention one or two over here. One is that we have a lot of stress, anxiety, or worry, and that worry affects our sleep. So if anybody is not able to sleep, they should analyze their behavior or mind, that whether they are having some worries, because worry not only is affecting your sleep, but it also affects your immunity. I'm going to come to that section just after sleep, that how worry affects our immunity. So if you monitor your sleep and you find that you're not able to fall asleep, or you get difficult to fall asleep once disturbed because of constant worry, whether it is about your child or your health or your money, then there is a problem. You cannot remain healthy, or you cannot have good immunity if you have a lot of worries which is affecting your sleep. The other important thing which is affecting our sleep, modern day men and women sleep, is the spectrum of light which we have in our homes. Latest research suggests that blue spectrum light, which is there in tube lights, actually affects our sleep. Therefore, it is recommended that you look at your lighting arrangement at home. And if you find that you have a lot of white light, that is the tube light, which is having blue spectrum light, then you're advised to change it to warm white color spectrum. Because if you do so, then it is going to help you. Because if you look at nature, your eyes are basically extension of your brain. So why do I say that? So every time there is a sunrise, you go out and look into the sky, you see the color spectrum of the sky. If it is not clouded, of course. If it is cloudy, you will not notice it. But if it is a clear sky, if you see the sunrise, you will find the color is towards bluish. And that has a direct effect on brain, which then stimulates the release of certain chemicals in the brain. On the other hand, when you see sunset, you will see the color spectrum of the sky changes to oranges, which is to signal brain to release a chemical called melatonin, which actually is a chemical or hormone required for having good night's sleep. So apart from addressing your anxiety and worries and health related issues affecting your stomach, which is disturbing your sleep, you may like to address your lights in your house, which may also be affecting your sleep. Now, after sleep, the next important thing, perhaps most important, if not, though it is mentioned at the end, for the sake of mnemonic to sound correctly, able to remember it, happiness. So that is H for happiness. So we talked about walking every day, that is W, adequate nutrition, that is A, sleep, that is S, and happiness, that is H. So that completes our mnemonic WASH. So you remember WASH. Walk every day, have adequate nutrition, get good night's sleep, and always be happy. But why should you always be happy? What is the, why being happy is important? Well, most of it is there in public domain. Most of you may already be knowing that happiness is like healthiness. It's a common knowledge. I would like to go a little in detail about it so that if at all it is easier to remember and perhaps reinforces the idea. Unhappiness, or when you are in a state of unhappiness, you are in a state of what is called mental emotional stress. And this stress produces what is called stress hormone. This stress hormone will suppress your other hormones, which are secreted from endocrinal glands. And let me tell you, hormones are the most important chemicals in our body, which performs a variety of function. A very popular, commonly known hormone is thyroid hormone. The other one is insulin. So you know what happens when you have low level of insulin, you develop diabetes. So somebody who is in a state of mental and emotional stress tends to have higher level of blood sugar. I cannot say he would develop diabetes just because he's under stress, but it is proven that people who are having diabetes, and if they have long-term stress or they get suddenly highly stressed, their blood sugar spikes. So there is an oblique relationship between stress and high blood sugar. But then what are the type of stress which we have, or what are the type of unhappiness which has been recognized, and how to address that? I would take a couple of minutes to discuss that. I think it's very important at this point of time. Without addressing this, or at least understanding this, one cannot truly talk about immunity. One of the commonest stress human being faces today, even because of COVID-19 for that matter, is anxiety. What is anxiety? Anxiety is a very simple word can be called as worry. Anxiety is a medical term, worry is a common man's word. So when you worry, you basically get into stress. And when you do not address your worry, then you develop fear. And that is the next level of stress. So only way you can avoid getting the ill effect of anxiety and fear is by challenging it. Let us say I develop a stomach pain on the right side. we have some basic idea that right side appendix is there. And then somebody tells, my good friend tells me, oh, you could be having appendix. So now I start to worry about, oh, I'm going to have appendix problem. But what I don't do is go to a doctor and get it checked. And I continuously worry, oh, I'm having appendix problem. Oh, I'm having appendix problem. Then after 2-3 days, the pain becomes okay. I forget about it. After 1 week, again pain comes back. And then this time my anxiety is even stronger than last time. And continuously I suffer from this anxiety and it develops into fear. Once it reaches that stage, then it becomes a very potent negative power or force in our body or in my mind, and which will affect my immunity so much that I will fall sick very shortly. So the only way I could have avoided it to convert into fear is by going to a doctor and challenge that anxiety and get to know about it, that no, it is nothing. It's just a simple acidity problem. If you change your food habit, you will become okay. And that's it, the problem is solved. So once you challenge your anxiety, once you challenge your worry, you would get out of it and you will do a lot of good to your immunity. Similarly, when you have grief, somebody died in the family, or if you lost some amount of money, the best way to fight out the grief is to talk about it, to discuss this with a friend or a counselor. Once you let it out, it just loses its negative effect and you tend to forget about it. The other important negative emotion which is rampant in society today is being deceived or being wronged by some people and having a sense of revenge in our mind that I should also, punish him or her because she or he did wrong to me. Well, you may justify having such an emotion, but the better way to deal with it is forgiveness. So if you forgive and move on, and it will not only make you happier, it will also help you in not letting it affect your immunity. There are a couple of easy to do tools are there which helps you in fighting stress. Listening to good quality music, doing meditation, involving doing things which are like laughter. There are so many laughter clubs are there, watching a funny movie or reading books. So these are the things which helps us further in making us happy. And if you are happy, you're going to be healthy. This Google Slides moves very slowly. Now, I'm a medical homeopath. After I did my MBBS, as explained by Mr. Bharat Krishnan, we've become good friends. That I have done my MBBS and also my homeopathy education from United Kingdom, that is London Hospital. So I have learned about a homeopathic remedy called arsenic album, 30C. And I've been distributing that to a lot of people who cannot have access to, medicine or information, like people who are into disability homes, people who are into orphanages, blind schools, factory workers, public transport drivers like, bus drivers, BMTC, we call it in Karnataka. So been distributing arsenic album 30C to many of these people. According to Government of India's Ayush department, if you take arsenic album 4 pills once a day in the morning before brushing for 3 days and repeat after 2 weeks, you will develop or you will get some help in stimulating your immunity, which in turn will help you fight any viral infection, including COVID-19. God forbid if you get, and may save your life. We are not saying that taking arsenic album is a prevention for COVID-19. We're not even saying that arsenic album is actually a cure or a treatment for COVID-19 infection. What I'm saying here is taking homeopathic arsenic album 30C helps you develop immunity in such a way that you may be able to fight an infection in a better way. Without it, it may be slightly more difficult. So that is your another edge. So we talked about walking every day. Yes. So to conclude that, we talked about walking every day or a similar isotonic exercise like running, swimming, cycling to improve blood circulation, to deliver more oxygen to your organs, and to give an internal bath to your organs, followed by a good amount of gut health and adequate intake of vegetables, water, and protein. Then we discussed the role of good quality plus 7 hours sleep. We also talked about very important influence mind has and how happiness can help you protect from or help you develop immunity, or unhappiness can do it the other way around. And arsenic album, a homeopathic remedy which can help you improve your immunity to better fight an infection, including COVID-19. To sum it up, I just propose a simple thing, and that is we can strengthen our immunity by starting a day with morning walk, having nutritious food throughout the day while being happy for as long as possible. And when night comes calling, we must get 7 hours sleep, deep sleep. It can be said as an icing on the cake if one gets up refreshed and happy with the memory of a sweet dream. By this, I conclude my sharing of thoughts with few disclaimers, and that is few words of caution. Point one, people with heart condition should take advice from their doctor and perhaps use a fitness tracker to keep calibrating their heart activity while doing brisk walking. So some people may not, be advised to do very high level of brisk walking if they have a heart condition. Second, people with kidney problem have to be mindful of potassium-rich food, that is certain fruits and leafy vegetable, and must calibrate protein intake and water intake as well. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this information will help you all enrich about what immunity is all about. And if any one of you need more info on any of these topics, you can reach to me. My details are there with Dr. Ram. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Deepak, for a wonderful summary and explaining about you actually made a wash into, which is something really wash. It is not only just washing hands, and it has a great meaning what you came up with walking, adequate nutrition, sufficient sleep, happiness, and if anybody like homeopathy, it's wonderful acronym you have provided to all the audience here. So I now give the opportunity for anybody who wanted to ask any questions, because this is a great interactive session we have already planned. So you please come forward and ask your questions to the Dr. Deepak here. So we love you all to ask any questions, whatever you have.
Sir, first I would like to sincerely appreciate Dr. Deepak coming forward in spite of his busy schedule. I was talking to Varad, how busy you are, sir. I gratefully appreciate you taking the time and presenting in a detailed way and a very, very lucid way to understand the WASH process that you have described. It's definitely the youngsters have a significant role to play, and we have about close to 100 people joined the session to carefully listen, but thousands of people are watching on Facebook and YouTube your presentation, and I'm personally receiving a lot of appreciative comments on my personal messaging. So it is a great honor to have you, sir. Especially I would like to thank Varad and you for coordinating this, and Dr. Maram and Dr. Ram has done a wonderful job in organizing this session. So my question, sir, this homeopathic medicine that you've been distributing, how can we make it available through these volunteers to themselves to start with, and also their friends, families, and neighborhoods? So if we can somehow streamline that process to make it available to all the people, that would be wonderful. That's I would like to have Dr. Maram, Varad, and Ram to work with you to designate. We have this Swati also from Karnataka, from Mysore, who is going to coordinate this effort. She may be the direct link working with you on the ground. That's one thing we need to figure out very quickly, because as you see the numbers today, Varad was alerting me overnight around 2 a.m. I've been chatting with him. It's very, very disappointing to see how bad the situation is getting. And it has become impossible to find a bed in a hospital. And even you go into a hospital, you are not sure that you are coming out because you're not sure what kind of treatment they are providing us. The best way to deal with this is a preventive care, and all the WASH items you mentioned, everybody has to sincerely follow them and encourage everybody in your reach to follow. So, sir, if you could share your thoughts on how do we make this homeopathic medicine available through the network of our volunteers all over India. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for your praise, Dr. Hari. You have been a real source for all of us. You've been doing so much as a Lead India chairman, and hats off to you. Regarding the homeopathic remedies, we can provide it. We'll have to work out the modalities, and there is a problem in the quality control of these homeopathic remedies. Since these are not produced like a proper pharmaceutical company where you have a very standardized way of making them with a proper packing. These are basically, you have sugar pills, and on that you dispense it using alcohol dispensed or alcohol diluted homeopathic medicine. So each bottle has to be hand prepared, as Mr. Bharat Krishnan has mentioned, that we dispense medicine individually for each patient very carefully with number of pills and how many drops. So if there is a quality conscious requirement, then it has to be done in a very controlled environment, and has to be sent with the proper packing and parcel to concerned people who are looking for it. And there are a lot of modalities which requires to be fixed or which has to be worked out. I'm sure I'll coordinate with Mr. Ram and Mr. Bharat Krishnan, and we'll find out a way how to get it organized, and we'll do it. It will take some amount of time and effort, because this is a very labor intensive process. It's not something which you can mass scale it, because there is no way you can ensure quality if you mass scale it. Therefore, let it be. We'll take care of it, Dr. Hari, and we'll come back to you on a personal messaging as how to go forward from it. For the volunteers who have joined us, if many of them are interested in procuring arsenic album, they can contact to Mr. Ram, and then I will help them through Mr. Ram to get the remedies as in where they want and how much they want. We'll follow, we'll try to develop a system and a process, and by doing so, we'll be able to deliver some quality arsenic album to the people who want it.
Thank you so much. And I would like to get 1 more minute of your time. All the volunteers who are listening on this, when you fly in the aircraft, the air hostess provides a demonstration about the oxygen mask. So you need to have the mask on first before you put to your children or the next door person, next person sitting next to you. I think this is important that all the volunteers, you have to protect yourself first, to all the ways that it's possible to prevent this COVID attacking you. And then only you could take care of your family, friends, and neighborhoods. Please take it seriously. The situation is getting very worse, and you do not have enough resources on the ground in terms of hospital beds, or do not expect that the government will come to your risk. So the thing is in your hands to protect yourself and also protect your family, friends, and neighbors. Please take it seriously, follow the guidelines of what Dr. Deepak has mentioned, and do the needful, and reach out to the team who are going to help you, and follow the guidelines. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Dr. Deepak.
Yeah, so on a personal note, it's been almost 160 days now that I have not missed a single day. I have clocked more than 10,000 steps continuously for last 160 days. Today also I went for a run and a walk. I did 2-kilometer walk and 5-kilometer run. And my step trackers reads 12,500 steps. So this is something which I practice before I preach. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is, this is really the most important thing. Brisk walking every day without fail. Yes, sir. Anything else I can, anybody please ask questions?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Deepak. Friends, this is the questions time. So you can please go ahead and ask the questions.
Deepak sir, I have one question.
Yes. Go ahead.
Sir, please go ahead, sir. Dr. Ravi Garu. Dr. Ravi Garu is our advisor for the Lead India and Liberty Foundation.
Hello, Deepak.
So welcome,
Yes,
sir.
go ahead, please. Go ahead, Dr. Ravi.
Looks like he has a challenge, sir, to talk. So any other person next? Anybody want to speak? Please.
You can also post your question in the chat. If your voice is not audible, we can ask on your behalf. Please continue to post your questions.
Yeah, others, whoever can talk, please go ahead. Sir, you can post your question, Dr. Ravi, on the chat so that we can ask on your behalf.
Okay, sir. I'll post.
I see his audio is muted or something.
Yeah, please go ahead. Anand Naka, you want to ask any question? Please go ahead.
Sir, are you able to listen to my voice, sir?
Correct,
Yes,
correct.
Sir, basically, I am with one of the diabetic patient.
okay.
Hello. What are
Yeah,
the
go
safety
ahead.
precautions to be taken for the COVID-19?
Go ahead.
Sir, are you audible my voice now, sir?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Deepak,
Sir, what are-
Dr. Deepak, he asked, Anand asked one question. I think he asked right. He is a diabetic patient. How he wanted to take care of, no, how what do you advise to take care of in this COVID situation for the diabetic patient? That is what he is asking.
Well, how bad is his diabetic? Is he insulin dependent? Are you insulin dependent?
Yes, I am, sir. Yes, I am.
Are you taking insulin every day?
Sir.
Are you taking insulin every day,
Sir?
Mr. Anand? I am not able to hear, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Anand, you can ask the question in the chat so that we will answer. Yeah, so one question has come, sir, in the chat actually. Without any symptoms, someone faced breathing problems suddenly, then what medicine we have to take? Please suggest. 2 days back, my friend suffered like this. It is from Professor V.V. Sunil.
Well, there is no one single homeopathic medicine, but they can take arsenic album and also take some what is called bronchodilators, that is cough syrup expectorant, bronchodilators, sugar-free bronchodilators. It is important to understand we are not, we cannot provide you consultation for symptoms with one symptom or two symptoms. The idea of our session today is to give you a broader outlook on how to improve immunity, and thereby it is better to be in touch with your local doctor and see whether how severe your breathlessness is. You have to monitor your oxygen saturation level, and if you find that your oxygen saturation level is low, then you have to take oxygen and all the other measures. However, taking arsenic album will definitely help. Is that good enough, Doctor?
Thank you, Dr. Deepak. Another question actually from Dr. Ravi. Can
Yes.
a diabetic take this medicine?
Yes.
I think you already answered. Yeah.
Yes, anybody can take the medicine. There is no problem.
Yeah, please go ahead. Whoever wanted to ask, please ask.
Deepak, I also see this Anand, this gentleman who is a diabetic. He has asked a question about he taking this medicine. So he has asked a question: what do you advise me?
What do you advise?
Advise me, because he's insulin dependent diabetic.
Okay. So, see, there are a couple of things about insulin dependent diabetics. One is that they have to maintain a good amount of protein intake in their diet. So that is very important. And the second is they should do walking twice a day, morning and evening. And third, they should make sure that they take this arsenic album more frequently than repeating it twice in a month. So they may repeat every week. That is arsenic album for 3 days and then repeat next week again. So let us say if you taken it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then you stop for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, again start from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So every week they can repeat depending upon their health condition. But doing regular exercise, some muscle strengthening exercise, eating some extra protein, and sleeping adequately, and repeating arsenic album will help.
Okay, so there is a next question. Next question come from Nugu Hema. So he's asking about, okay, this is Shubhan. Shubhan is asking for depression free, which medicine should I take? Or, I think depression, what should be the medicine that you recommend? I think it's all the wash, right?
Yeah, it is difficult to prescribe on individual symptoms. It will not be right in my part to just say a few names here.
I think you can overall talk about the mental health in terms of that wash you said, right? About walking,
right. So
and being happy.
Health, yeah, I can talk about depression or mental health. The basic negative emotions one has to analyze. Commonly, if somebody is not suffering from organic depressive disorder, that is, they do not have any chemical imbalance in the brain, and because of which they are suffering from depression. That is, if they are suffering depression because of what has happened in their life, either they have lost a job, or if they could not do certain things which they wanted to do, or they have a relationship issue with their family members, or these days we also see people, having issues with boyfriend, girlfriend, all kind of interpersonal problem. So if somebody is having depression because of these environmental reasons, not because of organic brain disease, then the best thing is to talk it out, talk about it. Either talk to somebody, or write a diary, or look for a counselor to whom they can discuss with, or you won't be surprised. When I was studying in London, there was a doctor from Norway. He even suggested that you can talk to a tree, a big tree, and the trees are very receptive. They actually absorb a lot of your negativity, and you feel relieved. And that's why, perhaps why, we have in our tradition, Lord Krishna says, "Vriksho mein main people hu." That is, the people tree is something which absorbs a lot of environmental stuff. So that's why we have a tradition of walking around the people tree. So when you walk around people tree, basically you think about negativity and you pray. So you actually transfer your negativity to the tree. So some of these measures will actually help. So in Hindi we say, बांटने से दुख घटता है और बांटने से खुशियां बढ़ती है. So if you are depressed, talking about it to somebody whom you can trust will actually help significantly. Besides that, taking or giving suggestion on any medicine is not the right thing to do based on one single symptom, because it is not right legally, as well as it is not going to be effective. It's unlikely that it will work. So this is the only suggestion I can give as a generalized suggestion.
Thanks, Dr. Deepak.
Dr. Deepak, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting.
Please go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so to Dr. Deepak, I have a question here.
Please.
Usually nowadays, even for a common cold or cough, which was very usual all these years, though it is not actually the COVID, people are scared to go to doctors, and you know that, right? So, being a common cold or cough, Um, what is that first step, sort of first aid that we can actually take care of ourselves at our home? Because you know that, right? Even if we go to clinics and all, people usually tell us, we're supposed to go through the entire process, and most of them will be scared. And things are quite natural nowadays. So, is there any particular first aid that we can take care at our home?
Right. Very nice question, which is very relevant to what is happening around now. One of the important thing which I tell my patient, I think that will give you the correct answer. And I've not been telling this now, it's from beginning of time, that when you fall sick, what you should do is, first of all, you should unplug. That is, you stop going to work, stop interacting to people, reduce your work or stop if possible, and take rest. There is a very popular, funny acronym called restomycin. So basically, what I'm suggesting here is to take rest. And rest means drink lots of warm water, take steam, gargle, cut down on your food, take soups, salads, and thin dal. Stop taking animal food like dairy, chicken, eggs, everything. Just stick to very, very limited amount of food, and that too purely vegetarian, and that too mostly fruit and vegetable based, warm. Take some warm water and lemon, and take lots of rest, lots and lots of rest. Most of the viral illnesses, these respiratory tract viral illnesses, become all right in 2 to 3 days time. In fact, I have experimented once by drinking 3 liters of orange juice, and within 2 days my virus became all right. I didn't do anything, just drank 3 liters of warm orange juice for 2 days, and I was like back to normalcy. So that much also can be done. Just drink warm orange juice or warm water and lemon for 2 days, and just don't come out of bed, and you'll be fine. So things like this you can do. And one of doctors from London, actually, I spoke to him during this initial days of COVID-19. He had mentioned he was actually an intensivist. So he was I mean, his duty is to be in ICU. So he was put into COVID ward. He also got infected, and he also suffered from severe coronavirus disease. What he said, that even though I was tested positive, none of our family members were tested. They were given instruction that you stay at home if you develop cold, cough, fever, and unless and until you develop severe cough and breathlessness, don't come to hospital, don't come to doctor, just stay at home. If fever is high, take paracetamol and drink lots of water. So this is the first aid, that is drinking lots of warm water, taking steam, doing gargling, and eating very, very frugally. Eat, instead of eating, drink a lot of soup, drink a lot of juices, fresh juices, and rest. You can read some good books. That's what I would recommend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Dr. Deepak. Soma garu, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, sir. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Sumlata from Bharat Institute of Technology. Actually, I have a doubt, sir. I studied an article that our Ayush Ministry has recommended to take arsenicum album 30 for 3 days in empty stomach as a prophylaxis for treating this COVID-19. Am I right, sir? So, normally people use... Sir?
Go ahead.
Normally, people used to say that homeopathy medicine will act slowly, means upon prolonged use only it will heal the ailment. But how, whether it will work really for COVID-19, and for using 3 days, will it really prevent the corona, sir?
Well, your answer is your question is very nice and very apt. First of all, it is not a prophylaxis for COVID-19. There cannot be any medicine for prophylaxis of COVID-19. So far, we don't have anything known. However, having said that, what Ayush has said, that if you take arsenic album, it will trigger or stimulate your immunity. And if you stimulate your immunity, so what it does, it prevents you from developing severe coronavirus disease. That is, if you have robust immunity, it will prevent you from getting very severely sick. But then there are so many other factors, as I talked about explaining what affects our immunity. So homeopathy, taking homeopathy is only one of them. So what they are saying is, if you do all the others and also take homeopathy, then you will have some amount of immunity which will prevent you from getting seriously sick from coronavirus disease. It nowhere says that it is a prophylaxis. Prophylaxis is a medical term which means if you take that, you will not get that disease.
Yeah.
It is nowhere said as a prophylaxis. It only says it stimulates your immunity.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sir. Sir, I
Right.
have one more doubt, sir. Is there
And
any medicine to cure PCOS, sir? Polycystic ovarian syndrome?
let me complete one more point. Since we're talking about arsenic album, I have always said, and I'm repeating it here again, please listen, all of you, that by taking arsenic album, by no means you will be protected from coronavirus. You still have to follow the first wash, that is wearing a mask, avoiding crowded places, avoiding, following social distancing, that is S, and H for hand washing. You cannot prevent coronavirus infection if you don't follow the basic prevention protocol of wash, that is wearing a mask, avoiding crowded places, maintaining social distancing, and hand washing. PCOS is basically a disease which there is no single medicine for it. However, there are one general rule, or there are two general rules, you can say, if you like. And one of them is, if you avoid high glycemic index food, that is sugar and sugary foods, and food which has a very high amount of sugar, which is instantly released when you eat them, like potatoes and sweet potatoes and rice and things like that. And that is rule number one. Rule number two, if you walk regularly and reduce your weight, both these measures will help you in PCOS.
Okay. So there is no particular medicine in homeopathy for PCOS.
No, you have to give constitutional treatment based on multiple symptoms. And that needs to be done for a longer period of time, coupled with a proper diet, as I mentioned, avoiding high glycemic index food, and very, very regular amount of walking and reducing weight.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much.
Thank you, Dr. Deepak. Any more questions from anybody? Please ask. I don't see even any questions in the chat also.
No, there is one question. One question, Dr. Deepak, is Shubham Mahatre is asking, can you tell me about endorphins? That was his question. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Okay, this is my favorite because I enjoy endorphin rush every day. Endorphins are basically a group of feel-good chemicals released by brain when you do, or collectively with brain and muscles, you can say, if you like, when you do good amount of isotonic exercise. Now the threshold at which it is released, it differs for individual person. There is no fixed timeline that if you do this much of walking or running, you will get the endorphin release. However, how to identify endorphin release is when you start to, let's say, run or brisk walk. In the beginning, you will feel a little bit of, let's say, laziness or discomfort or some aches and pains in your muscles. But as you continue going forward, after say 15 to 20 minutes, you will experience that not only those aches and pains go away, but you start to feel somewhat nice about the whole exercise. And then further, if you continue, you start to feel motivated to do more vigorously. And that is your endorphin moment. And if you continue further, you will get what is called runner's high. That is, you start feeling absolutely elated, if I may say so. And also you feel somewhat very confident, and all your anxiety disappears, and you will feel as if you can take care of all the problems in your life. And that feeling lasts for say about few 5 minutes, 7 minutes to as long as 30 minutes, depending upon again multiple factors, depending upon how well you have exercised and how your brain condition is, how your internal chemistry is. Incidentally, I have done research work on my own, and I have found that those days when I fast and run, not only I get the endorphin runs faster, that is an early part of my running, within 20 minutes, that is within my first 2-3 kilometer itself, I start getting it. But it also stays for a longer period of time compared to those days when I have had a heavy meal previous night and I have not had good sleep, and if I had some painkillers for some other ailments, those days it is difficult to elicit that endorphin rush. Now these are also known as enkephalins, and endorphins and enkephalins are together. They are called as feel-good hormones released on after you do a good amount of physical exercise. Does that answer your question, sir?
I think it is a very
Yeah, there is one more question. I'm not sure it was asked. So the frequency of taking this homeopathic medicine that you mentioned, why take alternate 3 days after or some frequency? When do you take these pills?
Right. So if you look at the charter by Government of India's Ayush Department, it says to repeat after 1 month. Okay. But then that was in the beginning of pandemic, which is not even started in India full-fledged. What I practice is that you repeat it within 15 days. That is to basically for everybody globally. But if I feel on an individual basis, I would not mind repeating it within a week also, depending upon the vulnerability of the patient or the person, or depending upon his tendency to react to homeopathy, how quickly he reacts to homeopathy. So there are multiple factors which influences this decision of how often you have to repeat. But as I said earlier, the Government of India's Ayush says to repeat after a month, but I have been following for general public to repeat a little earlier. That is, once in every 15 days, you take it for 3 days.
Thank you, doctor. Yeah. So another question I see here, it is how to overcome post-corona respiratory problems.
Post-corona respiratory problem. Oh, there is a lot of symptomatic treatment, some vitamin supplements, and breathing exercises, regular steam inhalation, mucolytic agents, avoiding dairy products, avoiding fried food, keeping your gut clean, that is, you passing stool cleanly every day, sleeping soundly, and doing pranayam, basically anulom vilom every day. These are some of the things you can do. And if you have some leftover cough, you can take some ventrodilators like salbutamol with guanfacine, which will help you dilute your mucus and help you expectorate, that is, take it out.
Thank you, doctor. Any more questions from anyone? You can also post your questions or write to us. There is a feedback form given here. Yeah, please go ahead, doctor.
There are a couple of FAQs, frequently asked question. I will answer myself. One is that is these questions I have encountered whenever I have gone to distribute arsenic album to various organizations, that is all the disability homes and blind school, etc. One of the commonest FAQ is that whether they can take this along with their existing prescription medicine, be it for blood pressure or diabetes or for epilepsy. The answer is yes. You can take homeopathy safely, that is arsenic album safely, with other prescription medicine which you are already on. The other question they ask is whether to take it morning or afternoon or evening. So the ideal thing is to take it early morning. That is, as soon as you get up, you rinse your mouth with water and take the pills. And after 20 minutes, only you eat or drink or brush even. So 20 minutes window is required after taking medicine. The third question they ask, what is the dose for children and what is the dose for adult and what is the dose for elderly? In other words, is there any difference in number of pills for different age group? The answer is no. All age group has to be given same 4 pills, because homeopathic remedies are essentially not physical medicine but electromagnetic nanoparticles. So those 4 pills is not either too high for children or too less for an elderly person. And one more question they frequently ask, whether they have to avoid eating any food or foods to prevent any disruption of effect of homeopathic remedy, as it has been popularized by some doctors that you should not eat onion or you should not eat that and this. The answer is no. Again, you do not need to forbid anything from eating anything just in order to prevent any dilution of the effect of homeopathic remedy. Yes, you need to follow all your diet based on what illness you have, whether you have a kidney problem or a sugar problem, or if you are having hypertension, then salt, and so on. So these are 4 questions which are commonly asked, which I thought I should answer.
That's very good to know, actually. Yeah, and is there a medicine in homeopathy for idiopathic epilepsy? That was asked by one of the
No, there is no. I should not answer that question. It's not a generalized answer that can be given.
All right, thank you. So one person asked in the YouTube live they're watching, and camphor 1M 230. I don't see any question, but they just mentioned this camphor 1M.
We have no evidence to support that. Then neither Government of India recommends anything for a generalized use. Symptom-based, yes, one can take it, but he should contact a homeopathic doctor for such a prescription.
Yeah, thank you, doctor. And anyone else, if you are not able to post your question, ask your question here, you may kindly refer to the link I have provided here for the feedback. And also you can write to us at info@leadindia.us, I already mentioned here, so that we can connect with the doctor whenever, whatever the availability we look and do the needful. So if no questions or anything, now we move on to the next item. I hope no questions. MC, please go ahead with the next.
Dr. Hari Krishna Maram.
Please go ahead.
Dr. Hari Krishna Maram. Dr. Hari Krishna Maram is a digital brand ambassador and chairman of Vision Digital India and the founder chairman of Imperial College, which has just celebrated their 13th anniversary. He has worked in the fields of management and education management for over 26 years. He has served as the governing council member at the All India Management Association, vice president at the Association of Indian Management Schools, and is involved with the Lions Super Speciality Eye Hospital and Lions District Service Foundation. Additionally, he is the chief mentor of the Great Innovative Bangalore Green, which aims towards environmental conservation. He has received many awards throughout his lifetime, such as prestigious Knighthood Award from the UK. Now, let us welcome Dr. Hari Krishna Maram to deliver his keynote.
Thank you,
Thank
Tanmay.
you. Thank you. Good evening and good morning, dear friends. On the behalf of Lead India Foundation, Liberty Foundation, we would like to express our sincere appreciations for joining today a live webinar. This is Dr. Kalam's Memorial Global Webinar Series and mainly focusing on boosting immunity through holistic healthcare. So today, as rightly mentioned by the speakers, closely around 5 million people affected with the COVID in India and closely 30 million across the globe. And there is no hope when the vaccine comes. So in this kind of a scenario, everybody is scared. The economy is also scared. So there is minus 28.9% degrowth in Indian economy, and there is a projection of next 2021 also we will be having a minus 9% GDP than expected, plus 5%. So in this kind of a scenario, I think the first thing everyone across the world should take care is their health. And today, the keynote speaker, Dr. Deepak, explained very, very detailedly how you can take care and follow the certain simple guidelines to protect from the pandemic situation. So I think the way the questions came, the way interactions happened, definitely I think this is very helpful to everyone. And the opening remarks by Mr. Ram, the managing trustee of Liberty Foundation, Lead India, and Dr. Hari, founder chairman of Lead India Foundation, and Varada Krishnan, executive council member of Lead India and Liberty Foundation, Dr. Ravi Iyengar, Swati, the director, training and programs, other executive members, and the wonderful volunteers today who joined this webinar, and people from across the world. I think definitely you got a good information on various precautionary methods, what we can able to take, because this pandemic definitely impacted, up to the extent across the world, and people are afraid to go out, and every day there are huge number of deaths happening across the world, and there is so much imbalance in medical and healthcare system to cater the service to the people who are suffering this pandemic, especially if you talk about in India, the states which are giving a growth and economy is states like Maharashtra, states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, which contributes 40% of economy of India, are having a highest number of cases, more than 50%. So as rightly told by the previous speakers, so today the situation is so bad that we don't know what is the next thing. We don't know what is going to happen in coming months, when this disease will go, and when the normalcy will come. These are the biggest questions in front of all of us. So I think Dr. Deepak, Dr. Hari, Mr. Ram, Varad, all given wonderful thoughts. And I think the way you interacted, the way the questions you asked were very relevant to each one of us who are there in the Zoom, who are watching in YouTube, who are also watching this entire live program in the Facebook. So everyone definitely will get benefit out of that. And on the behalf of Lead India and Liberty Foundation, we would like to express our sincere thanks and appreciations to all the speakers who given their time, valuable suggestions to improve our immunity, to prevent ourselves from the pandemic. I think the volunteers done a great job, the MCs. You done a wonderful introduction of all the speakers. And definitely, I think this webinar is a series of webinar going to help large number of people in India as well as across the world. So now, coming to the Lead India and Liberty Foundation, on the behalf of the entire team are present here, I would like to communicate to you that the next bigger program we are coming out is the tribute to Dr. Abdul Kalam, the most popular 11th president of India, the Bharat Ratna, the missile man. So the tribute is, we are going to celebrate 90th birth anniversary of Bharat Ratna Dr. Abdul Kalam on 15th October. So Dr. Abdul Kalam, from a paper boy, he moved as a president of largest democracy of this world, and from a small village from Rameswaram to the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So the tribute what we can give, we thought, is people should remember, people should think about him on his 90th birth anniversary. So that is the reason we come out with a wonderful idea of having a 24-hour live webinar, bringing the speakers from across the world on various emerging topics, mainly related to sustainability, inclusive growth and economy, education, healthcare. So we will be having more than 100 speakers, including some of the great leaders, presidents, prime ministers of different countries, the central ministers, state ministers, the policy makers, educationists. All these people will be joining on October 15th for a tribute to our most popular Dr. Abdul Kalam. So I request all the volunteers to help to make this dream project into reality, to make it this program as most successful. Your help and your support is required in this direction. So you can look at the Lead India website, that is www.leadindia.us, for more details, to register as a volunteer, to register as a speakers, or to recommend some speakers for this conference, or to contribute your time, your efforts through this way. So now, without much delay, I would like to express our sincere thanks to all the supporters who joined in this mission to make it things possible to transform youth into. So we have so many universities, so many organizations, so many media channels who join in this mission to transform the youth. So thank you very much for joining this. So thank you and have a safe wherever you are. And as Dr. Deepak rightly told, follow that precautions and maintain yourself. And definitely, I think in coming days, we will come out of this pandemic and we will be waiting for that normalcy to have in our lives. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Maram. Thank you very much. So if no more questions, I think we are done. And I would like to recognize Swati. I forgot to mention in our the small presentation earlier. Swati is, as already conveyed by Dr. Hari Krishna Maram. She is going to be our project director at Bengaluru, based out of Bengaluru, for the training and other projects. Thank you, Swati, for joining us. Yeah. So, Dr. Hari, do you have any message, sir, before we conclude?
No, definitely. It's a wonderful session. My heartfelt regards and greetings and congratulations to Dr. Deepak and all of you who made this possible. I think even if we can save through this process one life, that is very meaningful to have some sessions like this. And I sincere request to all the volunteers who have joined today to take this message forward and protect yourself to start with, and protect the friends, families, and neighborhoods through the process of what Dr. Deepak mentioned: wash, wash, wash. Continue to do that. It's a time we are at a crossroads of facing this challenge through this disaster. And if not today, there may be something else in the future. So better we be prepared to face this challenge. And the life existed on this planet. Many things have passed. I want you to be positive about it. And this COVID cloud will pass. Be confident. There's a bright future ahead of you. And don't get discouraged. Continue to focus on your primary objectives of life. Continue to dream. Continue to aim high and realize your dreams. Thank you so much for each and every one of you for joining, and take this message. I would like to request each one of you who are here on today, at least reach out to 10 people and convey this message, what you learned today in this session, so that you can save their lives. And each of them probably can continue to save some other 10 people's life. Make it a chain reaction and continue to wash. Thank you, Dr. Deepak, for spending your valuable time today. And you be safe, because you are the critical resource on this planet now. And we need more people like you to keep us safe under these unusual circumstances. And this will continue to exist for some more time. Please don't take it easy, and be careful, and continue this messaging to everyone within your reach, within your network. I would like to appreciate again all the volunteers who made this possible, and we'll continue to host these sessions. As Dr. Hari Krishna Maram mentioned, it will be a wonderful, most likely we'll see Dr. Deepak as well as a speaker in the moving forward in other webinars that we're going to host. Thank you. Wonderful to see you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Hari. I would like to recognize our volunteers, Dr. Shravan Kumar from JNTU Anantapur, who has been doing wonderful volunteering service to Lead India. Thank you very much, Dr. Shravan Kumar. And Dr. Sumalata from Hyderabad. I don't remember the name of the institution, sorry for that. So she is also here with her team, about 25 members team today. Thank you, Sumalata. And once again, I thank everyone, especially our president, Dr. Hari Krishna Maram, for his wonderful keynote concluding remarks, and Mr. Varad Krishnan for the great welcome address, and also Dr. Deepak for very interactive session, giving a great insight. And also our MCs who have done wonderful job. Dr. Ravi Ayagari, our advisor for the Lead India and Liberty Foundation. And finally, thank you once again, Dr. Hari Garu, for your all the valuable time and guiding us in the right path. Yeah, I just remember now the volunteers are from Bharat Institute of Technology, Dr. Sumalata and team. Thank you everyone once again. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
4000 ఏళ్ల ఘన చరిత్ర, ఇటాలియన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఈస్ట్, దేశ భాషలందు తెలుగు లెస్స. ప్రపంచంలో ఎక్కువ మంది మాట్లాడే అతి ప్రాచీన ద్రవిడ భాష తెలుగు భాష. అలాంటి తెలుగుకి పట్టం కట్టి ప్రపంచ ఖ్యాతిని తెచ్చే పని భుజానికెత్తుకున్న సంస్థ పాఠశాల. కష్టపడి కాదు, ఇష్టపడేలా చిన్నారులకు తెలుగు నేర్పాలనే బృహత్ కార్యాన్ని చేపట్టింది పాఠశాల. మాతృభాషని భావితరాలకి అందించాలనే సదుద్దేశంతో పాఠశాలని తనలో విలీనం చేసుకుంది తానా. తానా ఆధ్వర్యంలో పాఠశాల మరింత కొత్త పుంతలు తొక్కనుంది. పాఠశాల ఇప్పుడు అమెరికాలోని అన్ని రాష్ట్రాల్లో అన్ని సెంటర్లలో ఒకే రకమైన విద్యాబోధన అందించబడును. 2020-21 సంవత్సరానికి అడ్మిషన్స్ ప్రారంభం. విద్యార్థులు ఆన్లైన్లో లేదా దగ్గరలోని పాఠశాల సెంటర్కి వెళ్ళి రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. సంవత్సరానికి కేవలం $100 మాత్రమే.